Let's talk about here with about the first quarter of the NBA season now in the books. What's been the biggest surprise in your eyes as far as the NBA is concerned? Who, what, where, whatever, wherever you want to go.
Well, speaking of Phil Jackson, to me, it's that Knicks team. And it's because of all of these public comments and all of the back and forth and how you have, basically you're putting your head coach, Jeff Hornacek, in the middle of having to go back and forth between Melo and Phil Jackson and the comments that are being said, and then you're mixing LeBron into it and what Phil Jackson has said about LeBron and his associates. This just doesn't weigh well on this team, and to me, though, it's not really affecting the team, and that's what I love the most about it, and to me, that's the most surprising, because you would think that all the off-the-court drama would translate to on-the-court inability to produce. So far, that hasn't been the case. They've been, really good this season, and the fact that Kristaps Porzingis is continuing to develop as a player, the fact that you have a healthy Derrick Rose, which is, before earlier in the season, everyone was saying how that was going to be a huge problem. He sat out a couple of games recently because of back spasms, but in general, when he's on the floor, if he's 80% healthy, he's the best player that's out on the floor potentially for the Knicks. So.
No, they're in third place.
Then they've got guys like Kyle O'Quinn who have come out of absolutely nowhere, who wasn't even it was an afterthought last season, who's been, willing to play defense and doing all of the nitty-gritty work on this team. So you had Jeff Hornacek, who is a very professional coach, and he preaches defense, and you see some of that starting to translate within the team. I like that they're taking the positives from their head coach and making that part of their team rather than the negatives from their GM and mixing that in.
Right. Third place right now in the Eastern Conference for the Knicks. But if they were in the West, they would be in 8th place.
Right.
And that just goes to show you how strong the West is, and that's where I'm going for my surprise. It would be those Houston Rockets. James Harden, without Dwight Howard, we're seeing what a superstar this young man is. Also, the move by Mike D'Antoni to put him at point guard. And now that we see it, I just wonder, why haven't we seen this before? What took so long to make James Harden the point guard? Because I know one of the concerns was going to be, was he going to be too much of a ball hog? But the fact that he racks up the assists on top of all the points that he scores himself, and if you look at efficiency numbers, there are people in the NBA who believe that he, not Russell Westbrook, is the most valuable player to his team, if not to the entire league. I love what they're doing there. D'Antoni, I've always been a big fan of his. I think that he's kind of gotten... He's almost like Pete Carroll before Pete Carroll actually won the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that Mike D'Antoni is going to win his NBA championship here in Houston like this year, but until Pete Carroll won that title with Seattle, or maybe actually before that when he won with USC, the criticism was that, he was a bad coach in the NFL. He wasn't. Go back and look at the numbers, what he did with the Patriots and the Jets. He took teams to the playoffs, and they weren't very good teams. They weren't great teams. They weren't the Patriots like we know them today. So I always thought he got a bad knock, and I think D'Antoni got a bad knock about how things went in Phoenix. Unfortunately for them, really, it was just about the fact that they ran into a buzzsaw of a great team called the San Antonio Spurs. That was just their misfortune, like a lot of teams probably in the 90s, running into the Michael Jordan Bulls.
Right.
But D'Antoni has done a great job there, and it's going to be fun to see the rest of the way here. They've emerged now as the 4th best team in the West, at least in terms of standings right now. They're tied actually with the Clippers for 3rd. I don't know if anybody saw this coming to be this